Hey there, my name is Ryan Himes, and I am a music teacher at Morgantown Elementary School in Butler County, Kentucky. And I'm currently working on my master's degree in gifted education. I'm enrolled in a psychology course, Gifted and Creative Mind, and I'm creating this YouTube video to discuss what is giftedness. How do you define it? How can you recognize it? How do you measure it? How can you bring it out in students? I want to talk about the social and emotional needs that gifted students have. I'm talking about how to motivate them and practices to collaborate with teachers and peers and administrators and professional development. This is mainly for um, my peers that I work with. I'm making this video for them, but hopefully someone else will um, get something out of this as well. I am not an expert on gifted and talented education, but I am learning. This is my second course that I'm enrolled in, and we had to do an assignment to spread the word, and I chose to spread the word through YouTube. So first off, what is giftedness and how do I recognize it? Studying gifted and talented students is very deep and it's complex. It's more complex than I ever thought it would be. Finishing this psychology of the gifted mind course, I wouldn't even dare to say that I have the amount of knowledge on gifted students that I need to in order to be teaching others. But I was assigned to do this, so I'm stepping out on faith, and I've researched, and hopefully you can take something from it. I've learned a lot from our professor at WKU, and I hope to share it with you. I enrolled in this course to learn, and I know that I have learned, and throughout this lecture and the paper that goes with it, I plan on going back and looking at the readings and the discussions that we did throughout the semesters, and I will refer to them. As a first-year teacher, it's been interesting to notice gifted students that feel different. They know that they're different. And after reading the material that was given to us in class and reflecting on my own personal experiences in the classroom, I believe that giftedness is certainly hard to define. Gifted students have a higher level capability to learn in all areas. James Borland said in his article, The Constructed Giftedness, in this article, I assert that giftedness is not a fact of nature or something that educators and psychologists have discovered. Instead, it is a socially constructed concept, something recently invented. I review the evolution of this construction and discuss some of the practical implications of the construct's application in education. Last, I speculate about some of the possible ways in which the construct may evolve in the future. And teachers, they have to go above and beyond in their lesson planning to accommodate these gifted students and make sure they're receiving that high level education that they need to and they deserve to receive, or else they're going to get bored, and bluntly, it'll be a waste of their time. And Sally Reese, she had an article, We Can't Change What We Don't Understand. She talks about how women especially have to have help and be given advice on choices and options that they have to reach that highest potential in the pathway of their choice for adult women. And I never paid attention to the different needs of young gifted women and adult gifted women. Thinking about my classroom of my own, I teach general music, kindergarten through 5th grade. I have a first grader that is obviously very gifted, although she's not labeled as gifted or talented. But I can say something one time, and I see her once a week, and the next time that I see her, she will um, repeat verbatim of what I taught. It's simply mind blowing that a 5, 6 year old student can come in, and I teach it, and I have this um, perception that they're going to come in and not remember anything, and she comes in and she remembers everything, and I can honestly just see the giftedness in her, and so that brings me to my next point about social and emotional needs of gifted students. You can see the distance that this student that I was just talking about and her other classmates, the social and emotional impact that has on her makes her feel accomplished, understood, and accepted by me, the teacher. But there is a lack of socializing between her and other students, and emotionally, I'm observing this. It's taken a toll on her throughout the year. I believe she's too far advanced to be um, in kindergarten. I believe she could be moved up to first grade, even second grade. Uh, she's on a second grade reading level. Her homeroom teacher has even stated that. Yet there's a lack of social and emotional need in her life. And a lot of information about social and emotional needs of gifted children is consisted of case studies, uh, programmers, expert opinion papers, and models, often not having research founded, which is what Gus said, 1997. In the second discussion in our course, we talked about a statement that Ziegler said that um, talked about the obvious hurt. Do we see an obvious hurt? And the legitimacy of public agendas is not always apparent. It's not always just out there, and it's especially not always um, politically valued to focus on efforts of those who are not obviously hurting. And emotional needs of gifted students are not always apparent. And I believe the author of that statement had in mind the way in which our public school system is set up, where we have so many apparent needs that are right in front of our faces, like FMD and EBD students, kids coming in, having to have an aid with them because of their disability, and that has to be accommodated in the school, in the classroom. And us as educators, we miss the needs of students that have to be met because their needs are not always obvious. I was going over an article by Robinson, and I kept thinking how true it is that these statements, students who are labeled gifted, are in fact special education students. They're special needs students. The reading referred to IQ testing, and both mentally disabled students and gifted students have an IQ score that puts them in the burden of deviance from the norm. It makes them exceptional students. They're not your average students. They are special. They're exceptional. We have to use differentiation in our classroom to meet the needs of these students who are out of sync with the more average people. We have to keep the mindset that we have to go out of our way sometimes with our instruction, our teaching. You know, if I have Joe over here that has a high IQ score, in the same yet different manner as we would with Sally, the student with a mental handicap. Constantly in our lesson planning, we must think of ways to differentiate our instruction so that the average students are learning content at their level, and the gifted students have accommodations that meet their needs to learn at the highest level that they can. And I believe there should be more material and resources out there than what there are for teachers to be able to meet the needs of those students that don't have that apparent an obvious need. thinking about motivation, I'll always believe that you can't make a person do what they don't want to do, yet we can find ways to use differentiation in the classroom to intrigue and engage students in learning. In my classroom, I try to find what my students are interested in. I want to know what they enjoy. Sometimes they come in and I just ask them, "What did you have for dinner last night? Did you like it? What's your favorite song?" Uh, I want to know the type of music they listen to as their music teacher. That way I can use that in my class and I know what interests them, and it can help me motivate them in my classroom. If they enjoy technology, research and independent projects may be ideal. If they enjoy games and are competitive, a game of Jeopardy or something along that line may be ideal for the students to fully engage and participate. Um, how to enhance and give students the best learning experience they deserve. This year at my school, and I'm sure that many school districts, and talking with other classmates, other school districts didn't have a lot of professional development on giftedness. I don't believe that we had 1 hour of PD on gifted ELL or special education. And according to other teachers, there have been very few professional development opportunities in the past. I think about a program that we just started here at this school that is a really awesome program. And I've watched students grow so much. I've been impressed to see what exactly elementary students are capable of. With my degree being kindergarten through 12th grade, I came in this not knowing, graduating in last May, didn't know if I would be teaching high school or middle school. Really, elementary school wasn't ideal for me because you don't know what to expect from them. You don't know what they're capable of. Sometimes you're way above their head, and sometimes they can blow your mind. But this program that we have, it's showed me that students, if they just are guided and are led, that they are leaders. They can, and that's what the program's all about, is to be a leader. I don't want to mention the program specifically, but I felt like we spent a lot of time preparing and continuing with this program that we haven't had time for professional development on other important issues. We spent 3 whole days in the summer preparing for this program. And I believe we need parents and educators to speak out to administrators and district employees that their gifted students are being left behind. Districts need full-time gifted and talented coordinators to work with their students to offer PD to staff. And our district does not have a full-time GT person, and neither does the county that I graduated from. It's sad. I think it will take parents over anyone speaking out and demanding that their child receives the full educational experience that he or she can have. I know that was a lot to take in there, but I hope it made you think and brought something out maybe you never thought before. It's awesome to work with gifted and talented students. I'm glad that I was labeled gifted and talented when I was in middle school and high school. I was gifted in arts and humanities and music and drama, and somebody saw that potential in me and they worked with me. And we at that time we had a gifted and talented person, and she worked with me, and unfortunately that program got cut. But hope you got something out of that. Thanks for listening.